Hackers of Reddit, what is the most disturbing thing you have ever found while hacking? College. Ran a sniffer on my dorm network to figure out why it was going so slow. Found that literally half of the computers in the dorm were infected with the SQL slammer worm. I do not want to Google this. Sounds like a computer STD. It is basically. I managed to break my ex's father's password. While snooping through files to see what I could find, I stumbled upon folders and folders of himself, his wife and various friends of theirs, wearing nothing but literal shit, and pissing on each other. They were in their 70s and it left me scarred. That my friend's homework folder contained nothing but actual homework. It was a sad day indeed. Working in IT for a large medical group, found weird animal stuff on owner's laptop, home computer, office desktop. Owner was 72. Back when Kazaa was big, I downloaded a bunch of porn. 13-year-old me figured since I built my own computer and bought all the parts myself, that it had be safe from my mom and her newly married husband. Wrong. He did not hack it exactly, because I had no safeguards and had nothing to hide. But when I got home he asked me why I was watching animal pee. I was so confused and said I had not been because that shit's gross. Come to find out, one of the videos I downloaded was labeled as regular old porn, but it was actually a chick getting fricked by a horse. So, that is pretty much when I stopped trusting peer-to-peer PRN downloads. Kazaa was the worst. I downloaded a bunch of Disney movies and they were actually P.R.Nos that went with the titles. The most memorable of which was easily Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Yeah. I tried to download Alice in Wonderland, but it turned out to be all of Wonderland and Alice. Not a hacker, but I once pickpocketed my dad smokes for a laugh, and that is how I found out he had gone back to smoking crack. In high school, found the root admin password buried in a script file that would run, leveraged that to get route and integrate Pro, the school's attendance and grading software. Explored some more and found a dial-in modem for emergency access to the network if the main fiber network failed. Was trying to pitch my principal on how better security was needed. He challenged me on why it was important. This was around 2000. Security was not a big deal yet. I replied that I could change my grades from home, or do it for others. As a result, I got into a seniors-only class where you had basically function as a school employee and fix the network. As a sophomore, my school's ID system was alphabetical and passwords followed numerical. So Adam Ames was Adam, Ames 0001 password. We had access to everyone, and everyone had all their stuff on cloud servers, so we could edit anyone at any time. While I didn't do anything, I had friends delete everyone they hated homework folders and stuff. Eventually 30 kids were passed because the school didn't want to admit its security system was that easy to beat. But another 20 kids were due to fail. The school changed grades themselves so grads were higher, and we were able to see it happen live. So we had two major issues. My ex-wife's phone. Well, found out she was sleeping with her ex-husband behind my back, so that is why she is my ex-wife. Bunch of boring answers here, so let me give you an actual answer. Actual things I found disturbing. Professionally, I am not a hacker, just an IT monkey. 1. I am honestly surprised our banking system works, period. I worked in multiple banks and frankly, I am surprised their systems work at all. Some servers are 20 years old, some do not have working doctor solution, some are using software that is no longer on the market, so if those servers break and they are 20 years old, there is no working alternative in place. I have seen such servers breaking twice. Once we had to buy identical server from eBay and ship it to London overnight to repair broken machine. Other time I just happened to be at the end of long line of failures, and I am pretty sure I was responsible for at least 10 million in trading losses. To this day I do not know how I was not sacked for that one. This was an old Solaris 8 server, and frankly, probably half the components were not working properly, but I still was responsible for that duck up. Fun fact, we had found some servers everyone forgot about. We found some old OpenWhost 3 server that is OS from ducking 90s after selling the business unit. New owners just asked WTF is that thing? We had old Red Hat 2 servers still running around when I left that bank few years ago. We had IBM Power 4 servers around, etc. Needless to say, no one released any security updates on those servers in over a decade. 2 Security. What is that? This is mobile banking. We need no security. I have seen engineers commit confidential code for mobile banking apps with secret keys to public Git repos. Also, at one point I was aware of critical security vulnerabilities in 2 mobile banking apps. This was about 2 years ago. Types of vulnerabilities that potentially would allow hackers to get all info, including card data. Which brings me to third point. 3 Pervasive culture of hiding everything. We had security breach. Well, do regulators know this? No. Then let us keep it that way. No one needs to know we have been hacked and millions of people are about to see their money stolen. They hunt down whistleblowers. One bank I work at got fined for money laundering. Established office in some Eastern European country. Hired a bunch of young, fresh, recent graduates desperate for jobs and gave them documents to analyze. In language none of them spoke. They literally went out of their way to find students who could not understand document they were analyzing. And this was my first job. You know what happened when I actually found money laundering? Company would be gone from the system. Private companies, especially small ones, are worse, probably because they cannot afford armies of engineers to try and fix their problems. It is remarkably easy to hack some web store, get credit card data and start selling it on dark web. You can literally buy someone else's credit card for few dollars. Banks at least have some security in place. Back when DSL was king and you could snoop your internal ISP network for file shares, I did just that. This was in the IRC days, so I always went looking down the same folder path to find whatever was open. This is not really hacking in the sense of figuring out how something works and then working around it or defeating a security flaw. You could literally just input an IP range and it would just go around to every IP asking, hey, are you sharing? I did found some good PR0N, some really weird music, and rarely would find like a TV show or a movie. Fast DSL was still maybe 10 M at that time, so compared to now, really slow. After finding one of these accounts, I started opening the JPGs inside. Things were looking good until I ran across obvious CP. I was sick, like I went and vomited. I thought about what can I do about this. I could report it to my ISP abuse department, but then I did bin arsing on myself, so that is obviously out. Could just delete it, but then they could just download it again. So I took one of the images, renamed it to logo sys and placed it in the main root of the offender's C. To explain further for those that do not know, Win95 all the way up to WinXP kept the loading Windows splash screen in a file called logo sys. This made it easy for partners like HP, Dell, Compaq etc. to make custom loading screens like powered by HP along with the Windows logo. So that meant that now, the next time that computer rebooted, instead of a Windows loading screen, it would display the offending image that I renamed. I hacked into my own phone and went to Google symptoms of short-term memory loss and all the links were already purple. 20 years ago I was looking for a tool to help manage my network. I found one and tried it out and it easily mapped everything on my network. Out of curiosity, I keyed in the IP address for a large local library. I was shocked that I was able to see every node on their network. I did not poke any further than that but found it scary that it was so easy. I am hoping their network is more secure now. That a certain database used by universities across Canada, containing a ton of personal information, stores passwords and plain text. I haven't tested it further, but if such a basic detail was overlooked, there's bound to be other vulnerabilities. I contacted the person at my university who is responsible for it, outlining all the details and demonstrating exactly what is wrong. This was 6 months ago and last I checked, the issue hasn't been fixed yet. Went into my stepbrother's Xbox account. Fun fact: Xbox is a great place to have detailed sexting with 3 different people. My dad was not pleased when I told him what was going on. I worked as IT for a public school in my area. To be honest, I am not a proper hacker. I am sure though if I put my mind to it I can learn it, but grabbing personal info there was just a question of wanting. It is appalling how frequent the teachers left personal email and other stuff just logged in on the public machines. I used to crack stolen phones so the data and the phone itself could be sold. Of course I received a phone that has CP on it, lots and lots of it. It made me sick. We discarded the phone and well, we did not tell anyone. I stopped doing the shady business years ago, but that scarred me. People using my name and birth year as their password. I have an unusual name. People still think that hacking is like in the movies. Hilarious. Not hacking, just doing regular maintenance backup, format reinstall for regular people. Everyone out 3 had something you would not expect. Just checking that the backups were complete and in good order was enough to find weird shit. A doctor had pictures of women heels, lots of them. The lady in accounting had pics of cats mating, no videos, nothing else. Pics from her own camera. Only time I actually hacked someone by patiently getting personal info until I cracked his email password and found out he was hitting on my girlfriend by telling her shitty lies about me, and she actually went out with him a couple of times. He was a friend during college. But I knew there was something off. I cut off with both at once. About 20 years ago, when chat rooms were still a thing, I would sometimes do tech support for people in chat. A couple of the kids in chat were underage and had their PC usage monitored by a parent. Since we all shared music, I knew some of what they had and knew where it was located on their PC. So while helping them with something unrelated, I got them to install a script that let me remote play music on their PC, and I would wait for them to say their parent was in the room and make the most embarrassing song they had play. No one wanted to go to jail, so we never did anything that was actually illegal. I mean, a lot of it was illegal in a sense, but when I dared someone to break into my PC, I wasn't going to report him when he did. LOL. I was working IT at this company 30 years ago and there was a girl I liked, but she was cold to me. I found out that she was meeting the CFO of the company after hours, so I wanted to see what was going on. I set up their computers to capture everything they were doing and I found out they were having an affair. He was married. She was really big on X and cocaine, and she was using him to pay for her drug habit. She had already milked him for $20,000 of money and it appeared they were going to make a big score on cocaine in the near future. He was getting a lot of sex from her, and to be honest, she was not only hot but freaky, so I get why he was being stupid. In the end though, he lost his job, got divorced, and she framed him and he served jail time for the drugs. There was no trace to her because she had covered her tracks. That is, until I took the messages I had copied and I sent them to the detectives. I remember the day they came and got her at the office. It was a huge thrill to see her get arrested. No one ever knew who sent the evidence. I was questioned by my boss, but since I was at such a low-level entry job they did not realize the abilities I possessed. I had already removed the spyware off the computer and cleaned up before they knew what happened. I was pretty good at hacking early on, too good. I don't want to say too much, but I got into some stuff with the stock exchange when I was younger and caused a big drop in the market, which led me to being banned from computers and telephones until I was 18. Once I was released back into the mainframe hacker speak for the real world, I got back to some of my old tricks and met a community of other like-minded hackers. Me and my buddies would share tips and tricks after school at the local underground skate park DJ set place. Well, anyways, long story short, I found a plot to sink a US oil tanker fleet and kind of save the day in the end. It was a pretty wild time. Consider subscribing if you enjoyed this video and if you want to see more of Reddit Universe.